Welcome back, everyone, to the VIBE Edu Podcast. As we are a hot mess, and we are doing a mailbag episode. So buckle up, folks. We have no idea where this is going, but I can assure you that the wheels will be coming off the tracks very, very soon, as we're going to be all over the place, very unstructured. I can guarantee you there's going to be a lot of aha moments, probably some humor and some passion, as before we even push record, Kim was truly fanning herself because she was so, I don't know, what was it? Angst? We were triggering you prior to the show. I don't know. What emotions were you feeling, Kim?
TJ was.
What'd you say?
TJ
I
was.
said, what emotions were you feeling while you were turning bright red?
I mean, you guys make me laugh all the time talking about planting your garden and your sound shields. Like I can't even handle it. Yeah. And now here we are talking about behavior and all the things.
All the things. So I have 5 questions from various folks, and this is coming from YouTube, Spotify, and then also I think a few folks sent some questions to Kim via Boxer. So, I mean, you can reach out to us via our websites. You can reach out on social media, DM us. It doesn't really matter. And we would love for your questions in regards to any of the topics previously in the 16 episodes before this. We've gone through quite a bit. Can you believe we've already gone through 16 episodes?
That's crazy.
That's 16 weeks, y'all.
Cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. So if you're ready, I can just start going through these questions and we'll see how many we actually hit.
Do it.
All right. So first one is, what can a teacher do when there is no one holding anyone accountable? Mostly an admin is not holding teachers accountable. I'm guessing this is probably with the teacher evaluation section or series that we did. So who wants to kick us off?
I think TJ, you should.
Sure. My answer is nothing. Forget about it. I mean, yeah.
All right, we're off the track. Let's go.
I got one down. What's the next question?
That's easy. I'm kicking butt no matter what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, it's a shame. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm upset about it. You know, I'm all for accountability, and I think that needs to be part of what principals do as their responsibility. But if I'm a teacher in a school and there's a lack of accountability, I'm just going to do my best, and I'm going to get better and better and better and better and better. And it's going to be clear to everyone that I own my domain and it is top notch. And I'm going to quit worrying about what's going on everywhere else. It's unfortunate, but I don't know that you have a whole ton of control over that situation. So forget about it. Do nothing.
Josh, will you read the question?
Of course. And you know what? You know, for my visual learners, I'll create a banner for you too. And I just want TJ just to continuously read as I have this up.
Oh, geez. I've already read all your names. Aspire to lead.
So here you go, TJ. This is for you, buddy. All right. So it's, what can a teacher do when there is no one holding anyone accountable? Mostly admin not holding teachers accountable.
I'd piggyback on, I agree with TJ. I mean, what are you going to do? But if you want to be good and you want to do, you know, grow and get better and all that, but I would add, I don't know how however you do this in a way that feels comfortable to you, but put it out there that you are that person, because there's probably other people on campus that feel the same way. And there could be some camaraderie and collectiveness in that, even if it's just a handful of teachers trying to grow and get better and share ideas. It's a lot more fun than going at it alone. So,
isn't that like the circle of power? Like, obviously it depends on your position, but if you're a teacher to a teacher, it's not like you have a role that would require you to have a crucial conversation with this person that needs some accountability. So wouldn't you focus on what you do have power over? Because you still have power over your classroom. You still have power as far as building a positive culture for the campus. So I'm just curious, like, for this person that's asking, I mean, it's not like you're going to your principal and saying, you need to hold these teachers accountable. I mean, that's not going to do anyone any good. So what is in your circle of control?
Yeah. I think when a campus, I'm just making assumptions here, when a school campus has decided that this is important to us, right? Whatever it is. Maybe it's like a social emotional learning practice, for instance, or language that they're going to use, or PBIS system, perhaps. Let's plant that little seed there. But I'm thinking, if an administrator has said this is important to us, but then, right, no one's holding the teachers accountable, and the principal kind of just like doesn't ever talk about it ever again. And then you as a teacher, you're frustrated. You're going like, wait, I thought we were all doing this. Are we not doing this? And yes, you need to let them, as we would say, let them and let me, what can I, do and be in control of? That's kind of what you guys were saying too. But it's frustrating. It's really, really frustrating when it's like, wait, I thought this was important. So like, what do we do? So as a teacher, I'm thinking, what type of conversation, this is especially goes to TJ and Josh, what type of a conversation could I have maybe with an administrator that maybe like shapes that so that maybe we can start holding teachers accountable and go back to like, we're all in this together sort of a thing. What does that sound like?
Well, and in particular, it's frustrating from the teacher's point of view when the school, let's just hypothetically say, has clearly established the why behind whatever resource or intervention or program, whatever initiative they're engaged in, and recognize that if we're doing this campus-wide, there's value in being collective about it, because that's where the real impact happens, collective efficacy. We all know that, effect size. And that means there's some fidelity, most likely, to what we're doing. It doesn't mean that you lose academic freedom at the same time. So it is frustrating. Like, hey, I thought there's this need we're trying to, and you're just going to not do it.
Yep.
And it becomes, or I should say, it can become divisive for a teacher to go to another teacher and be like, why aren't you doing this?
It's just 100%.
He is 100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think I'm understanding this question more now that we're unpacking it a little bit. Like, should you go to the admin and say, hey, like, but if the admin is kind of lackluster and it's not going to go anywhere,
right?
Or the admin might go to the teacher and be like, hey, Kim in room 4 came to me and said, you're like, so all of that has to be intentional and really thought through. Mm-hmm. But this frustrates me big time, because I'm the guy I'm the outside guy. And you've said, hey, our students are struggling with executive dysfunction. And then we're curious about this program or this work. And then we do all the due diligence and you make your decision. Yes, we're going to purchase this program and roll it out. And my conversations are always with admin, like training and ongoing support it has to be. And then they just drop the ball on the ongoing support. And this is what can happen.
Okay. So like, anyway, as we're talking through this, like, I'm assuming this is probably a teacher who has had my team come in for years, and they've said that this is important to us, all of this, we're all in. And then all of a sudden it's maybe like a handful of teachers who aren't, and like, they just get to not be. I think that's like where the frustration kind of lies. I don't know.
Yeah.
TJ, Josh?
I mean, I think you can. I mean, if you want to try and there's nuance behind it and that could maybe influence something and go to the principal or assistant principal and say, hey, I don't think we're getting 100. I wouldn't tattletale, but I'd say I don't think we're getting 100% of the staff on board with this.
And 100% matters.
And 100% matters. Mitch is 100%.
100%.
Yeah, and 100% matters. Yes. So you can say, can we reintroduce this? Can we get more of a commitment? Can we come back to it in our faculty meeting? I think a lot of times when we have an initiative, it tends to like be a one and done, and then we think everybody's going to do it. I think that's naive, and I think it's typical. Mm-hmm. And so it could be that those teachers didn't see the value in it at the beginning, but we need to continually revisit it through walkthroughs, through teacher observation, through professional development, all things we've talked about on this show. And maybe it just needs to come back up 5 more times to get those people on board. And so I would say to the principal, is there something I can do at a faculty meeting to revisit this for the staff? Kim and I are on board, and we've been doing this and working on it on our PLCs, we have a couple of frameworks that we could present to people to maybe bring them on board. That could open up the door to the revisiting of it without it being the notion from the principal. But I will say, I personally, and this is a personality thing, but I personally would just do it louder and more. Like my response to things like that are to just make my practice louder and more intentional and more explicit in front of more people. And I think I've told this story maybe on this show, but I worked in a school where the kids had to wear a full-on uniform 5 days a week, but the adults got to dress down on Fridays. And that bothered me big time because the kids had to wear khakis, but the adults were coming in jeans, and the kids had to wear collared shirts, and the adults were coming in hoodies. So on Fridays, I wore a full suit and tie every Friday. And so that's just kind of the way I respond to things like that. But
Fancy Friday.
You got to do you. You got to do you. But, there's nuance in how you respond to these things. And one answer is just to keep doing your thing.
For sure. And I agree with that, TJ. And I want to say, too, if you are having that conversation with the principal, be curious, not judgmental. Because a lot of times the admin has a lot more information than you do as a teacher, because they are building wide and they get a lot of different things. And sometimes it may be just a chain of people talking that is really not truth. It's just gossip. And so, if you're having that conversation, it's okay to ask questions and share some concerns, but not judgmental at the admin and saying like, well, you need to do this, right? And maybe it's just about asking some important questions to get the thought process going, to understand, okay, well, you know what, this initiative was just a one and done, and our staff does need to have this revisited, like TJ was saying. And maybe that's something that comes up through that conversation with your admin. But again, it's not coming in saying you need to do this as the leader. I mean, that's not going to be a very productive conversation, similar to what TJ was talking about. That's just going to create walls and defense systems going up. And so I would just say that, if you're a leader and you're starting to see this, where there's some folks not doing what they're supposed to with an initiative, it's exactly what TJ was saying. If it's important to you, it needs to be embedded in everything within your campus. Every meeting needs to have it. Any team building, whatever you're doing, it needs to be embedded somewhere in it if it's important. And unfortunately, over time, educators have been conditioned to this, to say, this is the new shiny thing. This is not going to stay. I don't need to do it because it's going to go away and we're going to do something brand new next year. Mm-hmm. So as a leader, you need to understand that is just the culture in education. And if it's important, you need to go against that and do something different in regards to it being introduced. But then also there's touch points throughout the school year to let them understand that this is important and it's not going away.
Yeah. The only other thing I would say, and then we'll go to the next question, I think, is that if you're a school leader listening to this, take note that your best teachers want you to hold people accountable. And I just, one of the things, when we wrote Invest in Your Best, the best teachers get ignored. And so a lot of leaders don't know what to do with the best teachers. But I would say there's a lot we can do with our best teachers. And one is to make sure that we're holding everybody else to a high enough standard.
I'll piggyback on that real quick, just from my experience, again, like as an outsider on campus. One, I would say if it is some type of initiative or programming or something we're doing, right? It's okay to go slow, embed it everywhere. I agree, Josh. And to your point, TJ, with the best, and this is low hanging fruit. I mean, imagine everybody knows this, but it's really powerful when it's not me or one of my trainers coming in and saying, hey, look at what this could, when a teacher stands up that actually implemented with fidelity and they're seeing positive impact and they just talk about it. That has a lot of power and a lot of sway with teachers who are maybe on the fence or need to be held accountable. So if you are going with something, and those are usually the people leading, and it's fun when they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so surprised at what's happening. Yeah. This is really good. Yeah. And you just go, oh, okay. And then, okay, let's do a review. Let's do a refresher kind of training thing. And so just something to think about.
It really is those stories, Mitch, that make all the difference. Like when a teacher says to me, like, this happened, blah, blah, I'm like, tell your colleagues, tell your colleagues, tell the teacher next door, talk in your PLC, tell the stories, because they are going to become the believers when they're like, wait, I know that kid. You did it with that kid and it worked. And you feel like you could do it again. Okay, then maybe I might use it, for my group or whatever. Like those types of stories teachers can connect with. And then that's when they will step into action.
And that's how you make real change. Because it's not because a principal is saying it from the top. It's because peer to peer, that conversation of, I did this, it's working. And then that peer goes, oh, well, I want to try that. And they start doing that. That's when you start to see culture change. And back to what we were talking about before, it doesn't matter about your title. You still have influence. So how are you going to use that power to influence others in the best way possible? If you believe in that initiative that other people aren't being accountable for, what are you doing as far as your influence on the campus to make it better?
One other thing I'll say that I thought was really cool was, and Josh, you alluded to this, that don't come in all judgy, right? Just lead with curiosity if you are a frustrated teacher. But if you are a school leader, one of the things that I've seen a few times now in organized binder schools is one that the freedom and the kind of boldness to go slow, let it be. But a couple principals that I've worked with over the years, Summit was every week. They would just send a letter to the staff about what they're seeing as they walk around campus. TJ, you say this all the time, like you've got to be in classrooms. You got to be in classrooms. And this one in particular, one of the most reflective principals I've ever met, and therefore most effective. And he just would tell me, I'm like, man, you're in classroom. You're out and about all the time. And he's like, yeah, that's what's important. And I just don't do some stuff. Like I'm known like in the district as kind of like a little bit of a renegade. He's like, but I have to do this stuff first. And he would write a letter to his staff at the end of every week, just about reflections, things he saw walking around, and not just organized binder or something. He would have little highlights, but it was a really authentic way to say, hey, here's what's going on campus. This is what I see. So,
man, we got to clone that principal. I love that.
All right.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to question number 2. Here you go, TJ.
Oh boy.
How do we
This
make
is the public broadcasting system that we were talking about, right? How do you make it work for all kids? It's Sesame Street.
You were talking about.
It's Big Bird PBS. Oh, there's an I in there. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll talk about that I, buddy. All right, so how do we make PBIS work for all kids?
Well, listen, Mitch doesn't know what PBIS is. So.
Yeah, so first, someone
Big Bird.
Explain it to me. I don't know what this is.
Kim, you're a fan yourself.
Want me to? Okay. PBIS, Positive Behavior Intervention Supports. So here's the thing. I feel like PBIS started off as this grand, great idea to support all kids. But I personally feel like it only supports the kids that are already coming in with the skills that they need socially, emotionally. I'm thinking about executive functioning. Like we're praising the kids that already have come in with those skills instead of teaching into the skills and celebrating growth. And so, I mean, TJ was kind of talking before about like the trinkets and the stuff and the tickets and all those things. And does that really work for all kids? I know. So let's open it up. Let's talk about how do we really make PBIS work for all kids?
I think it can, but I think it can't just be in isolation. That's the problem, right? So yes. If this is the only behavior support system that you have in a school, I think we're missing the boat. So for example, I would combine PBIS with really good social and emotional learning strategies. I would combine PBIS with really good restorative practices. Yes. I would combine PBIS with other intervention strategies, academic intervention strategies, because I think a lot of kids act out because they don't feel like they're doing good in school. I would combine PBIS with some grading reform, because when kids get bad grades all the time, they act up in school. And so I think there's a number of other strategies to add to PBIS to make it feel like this is working for all kids versus thinking that one intervention system is going to be the answer. I wouldn't drop it if it's an initiative. I would actually push the chips in further with it to try. Back to the first question, is everybody really doing it? Because if it's not permeating the culture, the kids can't feel it. So that's my answer.
Totally. And my pet peeve, and I've been trained, our campus was trained for 4 years straight. And we were, first year implementation was just like the common areas. And then it expanded until, multiple years in, it was in every classroom. But to TJ's point, like if 25% of the people, the teachers, were implementing in their classroom, and we had it everywhere as far as the admin and counselors and everyone in the common spaces, like the common spaces were actually much better due to PBIS, because we had more, as the admin staff, we had more control over that. But to control 100 teachers to do the exact same thing in every classroom, what we found was it was really difficult to get everybody on board. And then it was kind of what our last conversation was, right? That accountability piece of, this is important. This isn't going away. We need to make sure that everybody's on board with it. But then also like that common language and also common practice of like, even if you have a ticket system, like people were doing it wrong. Like, oh, you turned in your homework, you get a ticket. No, that's not what the system was built for. Like you're perverting it. It's not for that purpose. Like this is about student behavior, not about compliance for schoolwork. And I can go in a million different ways. The other thing that was also a pet peeve is just the people would claim, because I've been on different campuses in different districts, oh, we are a PBIS campus. And then you start asking questions about what's been implemented. And it's a very tiny, minute piece of PBIS. And then they claim this grand, oh, we're doing this for all kids. It's like, no, you don't have the system in place, And then you start asking questions like, has the staff been trained? No. Well, let's talk about staff retention. Like how many new staff members have you gotten? Oh, you got 20% of your staff is brand new. Have they been trained? So it's like all these different things. Like if it is something that is campus culture or a practice or procedure that is implemented, then everybody needs to be trained on it. Everyone needs to have the same language. Everyone needs to have the same procedures. And that's something that requires a lot of time and energy for the leadership, but then also the staff to make sure that, like what TJ was saying, that it's implemented in everything. When our campus was truly a PBIS system, we had a PBIS team that started with, but then that changed. I've talked about the relationship action team on this podcast before. I pushed those two together, right? Because we're looking at social emotional learning, we're looking at restorative practices, we're looking at student behavior. We've got data. So like, let's put it all together. So it turned into this like massive A team of people that cared about the whole child and how all those systems are connected. And that's, I think, when you get your bang for your buck for all kids.
Can we talk about what not to do and what to do?
Yeah, I was kind of on that fence there.
So one of the things that I would say stop doing, is when you're working with an individual kid and let's say like your PBIS words are be safe, be kind, responsible. Okay, let's just pretend. And you have an individual kid and you're working through behavior, right, with them. And you have the day separate. I'm talking about elementary, but you have the day separated by certain chunks, like the morning time, before recess, after recess, before lunch. Like you have these sections of time and you meet with the kid after that section of time and you're like, okay, were you safe? No. Were you kind? No. Were you responsible? No. So you're like X. Oh, you didn't get your whatever it is. That to me is like, stop doing that. Please stop doing that. Because what is the behavior that you want to see? Did you have calm hands? Did you find your smart spot right away? Did you keep your feet to yourself? Great. You did it. Awesome. Like there's a way to reframe it so that it does work. And when you focus on just what that child needs in that specific time block, like if it is tricky for them to keep their hands and their feet to themselves and just sit down in one spot, then that's what we're focusing on. It's just that, not safe, kind, responsible, right? Which means absolutely nothing to a kid, especially for a little. I also was thinking like with check in, check out, I've had a ton of teachers talking through this because it's not working. And what I always say is, of course it's not working. You guys know check in, check out. You're familiar with this? Okay. So like you have one of your students go to another teacher, like let's say in the morning, right? They check in, they come back to you. Okay. And at the end of the day, they do the same thing. They go to that other teacher, they check out, they come back to you. So they usually are walking with like this little piece of paper or something. And what I always ask is, well, are the two teachers speaking the same language? That's the first thing, right? And then usually it's like, well, what language are you talking about? Well, I would say this. Has the classroom teacher drilled down to a specific time of day and what is really tricky for this kid, and have they empathized, and is there some sort of collaborative solution they've come up with together? That's a lot right there. So I know we talked about this before, but if it's tricky for even a kid to like rip out a math book page, and that's what's getting them dysregulated and frustrated, and that's the reason why they're not doing their work, well then, if you have a check-in, check-out system, and now both teachers have that language, the kid walks over to the other teacher in the morning with the piece of paper, and that other teacher goes, hey, I know you've been working on math really, really hard with Mrs. Gameroz, and I remember that you guys have talked about it, and she was going to rip out your math workbook page, and it's just going to be like on her desk for you to go and grab so you could find your smart spot and get started right away. And the kid goes, uh-huh. And she's like, okay, so today, remember, right before math time, what are you going to do? And the kid is going to go, I'm going to go over to their desk, Mrs. Gameroz's desk. I'm going to grab my math workbook page. Yes, you are. And how's it going to feel? I'm going to feel awesome because I can do this. You've got this. And off you go. Then when they come back, you're not talking about lunch. You're not talking about the crap that happened at recess. You're not talking about how they got in trouble and how they did something during reading. What are you talking about? You're talking about math. You're talking about math because that common language is that one goal that you've already like front loaded. It's not about the whole day, because that's what does not work, right? It's like, I heard about what happened at lunch, bud. What happened? And then they're like, oh, and that's why it's not working for you. But if you stay specific to one part of the day, that one goal, whatever that solution is, that can transfer back and forth. And then when you've got a handle on that, then you move to the next one. But that takes practice. And not a lot of teachers know how to do that. Okay.
The thing that I would just underscore there, and then maybe we are off to the next question, but it's positive behavior support. It's not negative behavior support. And so it's not about what the kid didn't do right. And every kid in the school did something right. Like if every kid in the school did something right, they got here, right? You got here today. Look at you being here and on time. Right. And that's, you give
even if you're not on time.
I know. Even if you're not on time.
Yeah.
But like, it's all predicated on kids being known. None of these programs, nothing works if you don't know the kids. If you don't know that that's what's frustrating this kid, the only way you're going to know that the reason this kid's blowing up in math is if you get to know them and figure it out. You can't read minds. Right. And I told you about the kid who had to take 3 city buses to get to school. And here I am standing at the door barking at him because he's 2 minutes late. It's like, then I get to know the kid and you're like, oh, yeah, let's get positive about this. And it's just a reframe, because my kid's elementary school, my daughter's elementary school, when I first was visiting, when we were touring it, I was walking with the teacher, and in the hallways painted on the outdoor hallways, but painted on the walls or wherever the signs say, it says, please run. Or it says, please run. It says, please walk.
I was like,
and I was like, oh, please walk. And I was like, please run. Yeah, just run to class. They'll be on time. Please walk. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Most schools I've been on, it says, don't run. I said, yeah, but we're trying to promote the behavior we want to see. So we just, it's please walk.
It's framing in the positive.
Just what Kim's saying. It's just like, oh, so we can move on, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a sign if I'm a teacher ever again. Maybe I do this even with my adult
class. This going to be another t-shirt?
Well, I could do a t-shirt, but I was going to get a sign that says, please chew gum.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of studies, especially with those who have ADHD, that gum actually helps keep them on track.
I have to tell you guys this. My daughter, who I think we are going to have tested for ADHD. She's my oldest. She's 19 or 16. Man,
what's going on?
You need more coffee. What's going on?
I do. I've only had 1 cup of coffee. But my wife sent me this picture, yesterday, dropping her off at school, and she's getting out of the truck and she has her backpack, right? And she's like, Mom, can I just empty some of my gum wrappers? Just leave them here and you could throw them away. And she's like, sure, sweetie. The picture she sent, she would love your class, TJ. The amount of gum wrappers. My wife literally had to take a picture because it was like, how did that even fit in your backpack with other stuff? It's like that amount of gum. She's like, what, Mom? I chew a lot of gum. But it does help her stay focused.
They don't have trash cans at that school?
Oh my God.
No, it's just the way my daughter's brain works.
She puts it right in the bag. That is.
She's already moved on to something else. So
yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay, but the phrasing that you just had, Mitch, that's just the way my daughter's brain works. And if a teacher can also have that phrase in their toolbox, that's just the way this kid's brains works. Like that's it. Oh gosh.
And that's them being known. And then and then you have to have that explicit modeling and a routine to it. So if you can't rip that page out, whatever it is, it all starts with knowing it. But then if it was a bigger issue, then okay, what's one thing we can start to work on?
Right.
Like with my daughter.
Just one.
You have to start with just one.
Yes.
I never one time had calm hands. I don't know even what that.
Oh, we know.
I'm like, I sit on my hands during this show because you guys give me such.
TJ the drummer.
I need to pull the video of the cat just typing like this, and just every time I hear tapping, just be able to pull it up for you.
Calm hands. I need you to have calm hands and find your smart spot.
You better find a smart spot.
But it is worth saying, since we're talking about PBIS, the one step at a time. We can't have too many things. Like, I think in some ways you could put organized binder into PBIS, but it was like, okay, here's what it looks like to be on time, because we have a chronic tardy problem. It looks the same in every class. We're all going to do this. It's really simple. You're in your desk with your binder open to what we call the B page, and it's white. The one in front of it's gold. That's where we set our goals. The one behind it's green. Just do that. That's what we're going to do until that becomes routine. And just to your point, Kim, every time a kid shows up and does that, I can celebrate them. Right? And who doesn't want to be celebrated?
But that's universal language with like clear communication. And I think those are like from organized binder and what I know, Mitch, of your program versus like PBIS, that's the one and the same. And I think that's why it's so good for kids, because it's actually, and staff, because as humans, we need this. We need that clear communication. We need it very specific as far as expectations. And so that's why I think our common areas like transformed right away, is because it was posted everywhere. Everyone knew it. It was universal. Students knew it. Our staff knew it. Parents knew it. Everyone knew it. Right. So like, I think just like hammering that over and over and over and over, and then using that same positive language, like we were rehearsing that and we knew it. And I think that's the two where organized binder and PBIS are the same. Like, I think that's why they are very well married together. Sorry, Kim, I cut you off.
No, that was good. I was just thinking, like, if your words are safe, kind, responsible, I want a picture of that binder on a desk with a kid saying, this is what it looks like to be responsible in this classroom. That's expected, right? And having that language, I mean, that is the social emotional learning piece too. Yeah. It's all of it. It's all the same.
And it's how much more powerful is that when and that's what it looks like in every classroom. So if you find yourself in 4th grade next year, hey, guess what? You don't have to think about it anymore, because it looks exactly like this is what we did in 3rd. And it doesn't, at the same time, worth mentioning, that doesn't infringe upon academic freedom. This is about routine and clarity and modeling, right? But if that's offloading, that's a cognitive load. You're offloading, you're freeing up working memory. Like, I know how to do this. Yeah. And if you're in a secondary school and it looks the same in every class, all of a sudden it just becomes, it's automaticity. This is what we do. And we had a saying back when I was in the classroom that that's just how we do school here. That's how we do it here, or something like that. Yep. Right.
Yep.
And Mitch is 100%.
I love it. I feel so good when I'm on this show.
Just giving positive affirmation. This is just PBIS.
This is what we're talking about.
I'm modeling it.
I'm telling you right now, if you, that matters. Like when you were like to a kid, like who doesn't want to be told, You're 100%. You brought your pencil. You got to school.
Well, that's
did
what
the
I was
thing.
about to say. Give out the darn tickets. That's the other thing. Like,
Yeah, right.
we got to give the tickets out. I just wouldn't be so sparing with the tickets. Like,
Okay, but even I'm just thinking teacher brain. Well, I don't want to give the tickets to this guy because this guy's going to rip them up and he's going to throw them away, or they're going to do this, or she's going to do that, right? She's going to like have them little pieces everywhere because that's what she does. So how can you solve that problem? Where should she keep those tickets? Where should he keep those tickets? How can we solve that? What's going to work?
Can they be digital?
Okay.
So they don't
Or
actually
is
have
it a problem that they tore it up? Can the kid, that's what I want to do with my ticket. Just clean up your mess when you're done. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot.
Let's move on.
Maybe this needs to be a series because I think we
What's
could go
the
for
next
another
question?
hour easily.
Tickets?
All right.
Tickets?
Please. Okay. How do we encourage parents to be involved in their child's education? It feels like more and more families are hands off when it comes to school.
Can I start?
Go.
Yes, Mitch.
True.
Yes, Mitchell.
For Mitchell James. Yes, that's true. And I think first, back to that people being known and leading with curiosity, there may be very valid reasons why a parent or a family might be less communicative with the school. That culturally, it might be a respect thing too. Like I'm trusting you with my kid. All of that is true, and a lot more to be said there. But now as a parent, in particular, this is because I've mentioned it before. My daughters went to a TK8, all one campus. They were there. My youngest is still there. We're very much a part of that community. So communication we're on campus all the time. But the transition to a large Title I public high school here in the city, I want to encourage teachers to reach out to families. Don't wait for families to come to you, and what that looks like. Just any basic communication, because for me now, I'm like, what is going on? I have no communication with you. And if you had some systems in place where I could see what's happening and therefore better support my daughter, and by the way, hold her accountable, that kind of clarity as a parent would be really helpful. So I think there's a lot to talk about here of why a family may not be engaged, but take it on yourself to figure out how to open those lines of communication.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think this is one of those things we call true but useless. I'm back to this fear of influence, and I would flip it. To Mitch's point, I would completely flip the question to how can schools be more involved with families?
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not a passive relationship where they come to us to the point earlier. I think we need to go to them and do an inventory of the way we engage with parents, including the newsletter. Like, too many newsletters are like long and mundane.
Yep.
And they don't include the important information. And then the important information comes separate. So it diminishes the value of the newsletter. And so,
should we even send a newsletter? I mean, is that
maybe not, maybe a little video or something. I don't know the answer to that. I think we do need to communicate with families, but where's the one-stop shop, and are we using jargon, and how's it feel to be at the school versus
Totally.
And lots of parents had bad experiences when they were in school, and the last thing they want to do is go back to one.
Yep.
But
I felt that just the other day when I went up to my kid's school to meet with the
you
principal. I mean, all these emotions came back, not only as like being in the principal's office as a student and a child, but then also as an administrator and having like crazy, insane things happen at the school level. And all of those emotions started building up I had to like actually take a moment to get myself out of that and be like, okay, I'm a parent here. I'm not a student. I'm not in trouble. I'm not an administrator having to have a crucial conversation, although I kind of did have to have a crucial conversation. But all that being said is like, there are plenty of parents, if you were to survey them and ask them, they want nothing to do with the school building because it pulls up so many negative memories or experiences in their life. And to TJ's point, we actually did this, is we started to, have parent night or meet the teacher, or, we would do it for incoming sixth graders. And what we saw was a diminish of parent attendance. Well, why? Well, how are we going to get the answer if we don't ask them? And so that's what we did. We asked them, and that was exactly what it was. And a lot of times too, it was like, oh, my schedule, I'm too busy, or whatever. The time that you did it was in the middle of the day. I'm working, I can't be there, right? So we got all this information. And then in addition to the fact, we got a ton of people that were extremely honest that says, I don't ever want to go to the school. I don't like school buildings. And so what can we do? Well, what we started to do was, when we had a parent information night, we went to them. So we started to go into the neighborhoods. We started to have them at community centers. We started to have them at the apartment complexes, in their common areas, right? And we would bring food, and we would bring all this kind of stuff to them. And guess what? Our attendance went way up. Why? Because we took the barrier that they told us was there and existed, and we removed that. And then instead of trying to be convenient to us as the school building, we made it convenient for them.
I love that. I want to talk about newsletters, and then I want to talk about what some of my teachers have been doing with families. So newsletter, I like a newsletter, especially elementary, like what's going on in the classroom, but like you said, does not need to be lengthy at all. And honestly, like, I want to know if you've got some language that you're using, teacher, in your classroom that's really working for you, like, and I can use it in my home. I want it. Like, you're going to solve a problem for me. I need that solution. So if that is part of your newsletter, like this week, we're talking about your circle of control. And it sounded like this in the classroom when we were talking about it. Here's the anchor chart, cha-ching, a picture of it that we created. We learned that we can't control the weather. We can't control what you have for dinner. I don't know, whatever it is, but we can control the words that we choose, our reactions to people around us, blah, 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 blah. At home, it can sound like this, yada, yada. Like, I love that.
Yes.
One of my teachers, she was like, I want to use technology. We have iPads in the classroom. What can I possibly do to make this, interactive and fun, but also I don't want to do it. And so I was like, I don't know. Could you choose a group of, like, you have table groups. Could you have a table group every week or whatever, however you want to do this, every month, or select kids, or maybe it's a classroom job that they create the newsletter, and it's their words that are typed somewhere. Is it a slide deck? Is it a pic collage? Is it some interactive something or other where they can tap things, they can watch videos? Like, how cool to let the kids have voice in all of this. Maybe you choose one or two subjects. In writing, we're doing this, da-da-da-da-da. In social studies, we've been doing this, da-da-da-da. A little SEL piece at the bottom, like your circle of control something. We would talk about, like, the bison of the month or the bison of the week has been blah, blah, blah. And here's some pictures. That's really cool, because then I can feel as a parent a taste of what it's like to be in your classroom and how magical it really is. I was also thinking, especially this goes for social emotional learning. If you're hosting a social emotional learning family night across your campus, you never are going to get a lot of parents coming. Like, you just won't. You won't. You will not. And so every time,
don't call it that. Yeah.
Right. You don't call it that. You do not call it that. You call it something else for sure if you want to, like, get them in there. But honestly, the best way to do it, I love, is when my teachers will host their own. And either the parents will come in person into their classroom, or they have it over Zoom. And like Josh, you said, ask them, hey, I'm going to have this family night, and is it easier for you guys to come after school, or would you rather have it over Zoom? They're going to be driving to soccer practice, and they're still going to show up, because guess what? You're going to give them a solution. At our SEL family night, we're going to be talking about, and it could be like how to get out the door faster and without the chaos, because guess what? That's what we do in the classroom all day long. And I'm going to give you the secrets. I'm going to walk you through step by step. And the parents are like, give it to me now. Like, I got to be there. Right. And so that type of stuff, just again, how do you get parents involved? You do it like that. You bring them in, just like we were saying, but it's not surface level. It is getting to know them, just like how you get to know the kids, and you figure out what's going to work for them. And it's that common language. That's how you bridge that gap from school to home.
So that's
the other thing,
value add. Sorry, TJ. right? There's something for me like, wow, but if I choose to do this in my home in the morning, let's say, I'm actually reinforcing what's happening at school. In that sense, it's actually accountability. It's benefiting me and my kid, but I'm also holding you accountable in a way. And what you're saying, Kim, all of a sudden, I know this is the language you speak because you're all things SEL, right? Like, it's not just about content and curriculum. It's not just about here's the homework. That's important. Here's what we're doing in language arts and math that they're going to practice at home. Like, okay, great. I need to know that. Yep. But what I found was when I engaged families in a way that wasn't tied to content, because as a secondary science teacher, I couldn't necessarily rely on that. I'm going to send this home, and if you get stuck, ask your family members to help you. Maybe, maybe not. But, I'm teaching honors, anatomy, phys, or something, But find me a parent that doesn't want their kid to learn, just like to learn to get to stay organized, to keep a calendar, set goals, all these things that it's about this whole learner. Yes, there's this content piece, and I want to know that, right? Because I want to support my kid at home. That's the communication. But having it be beyond that, I find that that resonates and engages parents and family members. Sorry, TJ.
No, I was just going to say, I also want to define parent involvement. Like, I don't know what that means. And I'm going to give you a couple examples. But like, if we want parents to be involved, we need to tell them exactly what involvement looks like. And so you could do those nights that Kim was saying. I love the Zoom idea because it's easy access for parents and they don't have to come to the school. But you could do a series on supporting your kid as a learner, supporting your kid with after school clubs, supporting your kid with organization. And you can do this series for parents, and it's all about how they can be involved in their kids' life as a school kid. And so that's where I would define it, because I don't know that parents know what we mean when we want them involved. And then the last thing I'll say on this one is, I'm not sure that we want parents involved the way we say we do. We want more parents involved. And I'll tell you why.
It depends on you.
I've worked at schools where like, that would be trouble. That would be difficult, number one, to manage. And then I've also had schools, like I've never worked in a school like this, but I listened to a principal one time tell me that the parents wanted so badly to be involved, like the mom and the dad. And there was a lot of stay-at-home moms, and they wanted to be in the school all day. And they would literally couldn't manage how many moms wanted to come in and make copies and stuff. So they had to start assigning people days. And there were certain people that were like, we don't want her here because she meddles in the thing with the teacher and it's aggravating for the kids. And it's like, there are lots of schools. I'm sure there are people listening now saying, yeah, man, get these people out of here.
How do I disengage my parent community? And that's worth saying. No, TJ, it is. I personally, my experience when I was in the classroom was often the opposite. And again, that's secondary versus elementary too, I think. But yeah, I think there's something to be said for, trust
how
us.
Involved do we want them? I want them to send in their learner ready, not tired, and with the stuff.
But that's the same thing. Like you're saying, is define it, bring clarity to what engagement looks like. Because the truth is, a lot of schools are struggling. They want help. They need chaperones on field trips. They need but what's it look like? In the same way that we were just saying in the last question, like, here's exactly what it looks like to be ready to engage in class, or what it looks like to be on time. Paint the gray areas black and white. There's no ambiguity. It's this. Well, if parents had that type of clarity as well, and it included things like other than content and curriculum, other than homework and test scores, not that that's not important, but this is exactly how you could support your kid. All parents want that.
100%.
Right?
Well, and parents also want communication where they seek information. So like, for instance, if you looked at a parent's phone, they may have 2,000 emails unread. Well, if you're trying to communicate them via email and only via email, then engagement's probably not going to be there because they don't even know what's happening. So that's the other component of it is we asked our parents, where do you get your communication? Where do you want it? Do you want to know one of the campuses? It was actually Facebook. That's where they went.
Oh yeah.
So we posted on Facebook every single day. And we did that with, back to PBIS, something positive that was going on in the school, because we wanted to make sure that they understood that all the negative things that they saw on Facebook and all the negative things they might have heard from the community, that was a very small percentage of what actually is occurring on the campus. So we got to show them visually of all the great things that were happening in the school, right? Every single day, in addition to the fact that we put information that was current and that was happening, exactly what you're saying, as far as what is that parent involvement and what is the opportunity for them? Because so many times they'd be like, I didn't know you guys were having a field day today. I would have totally helped you out. Like, I didn't know about that.
Right.
And sometimes, a lot of times, they do want to help. They just don't know how. And so you got to be like, to TJ's point, you got to like spell it out for them, but then also you got to communicate in the way that they're actually going to see it. So
find one place, one method of community. This is my belief. Like, I've seen schools, it's like, well, and this is true of the staff, like some are sending emails home, some are sending newsletters, some are texting, some have a school or a class website, and I post stuff that it's in our day and age, there's just too much coming at parents. So I pick one, if you have the freedom to figure out where they would want it, like this, you're saying Facebook, Josh, and then you just point there. Everything's just like, it's all here, it's all there, it's all there, it's all there. And then people are not as likely to be out of the loop. But email, I just don't know. It depends on if parents are, their habit, like professionally speaking, there's certain professions like this is just my experience. Tell me if I'm wrong, Kim. Like an elementary school teacher is not checking their email in a way that I am.
No.
That just, you don't have time during the day. Even a secondary teacher, you get your prep, you got like, at least it's broken up a little bit. And I think we can get into the mistake of everything goes home via email. I get it. But if you have 2,000 emails, it's just
emails
lost. You know, the intention is good, but I'm not sure email's the best route.
So, no, I want to say this. I know we have to wrap up soon, but for elementary, like I love Seesaw. The app Seesaw is like gold, especially when you explicitly tell parents, hey, this is where your child is going to be posting the things that we're doing in the classroom. They might even take pictures of themselves or of them working in a small group. I'm going to post things in the classroom. I'm going to post short videos in there. You might hear your child's voice recording, talking through their learning. And you, as a parent, you not only do you get to listen or look at it, you can also comment back. And your child is going to see your comment. And then they can see my comment. We can like things. You can always get notifications on your phone when your child posts those things. That is a great way, I think, to bring everybody into the learning, not just a family night, not just a, newsletter, but we're like all in this together with all of the kids and their learning and growth and that supportive herd behind them. I feel like Seesaw is like, that's a little taste of gold. I just love it.
For a class, are you saying for a class?
Yeah, for a class,
as
for
opposed
sure.
to a school.
Yeah, for a class. But it could be school wide. It could be at our school. This is where you go to for your individual classroom, right? For your kid, everything is always going to be posted to Seesaw. Like that's pretty dreamy to me to think about.
Yeah. Whatever it is, if it can be consistent and shared year after year. Yep.
Yes.
All right, wrap us up, Josh.
Well, we've almost hit an hour, so maybe I can stretch this out for 6 more minutes. All right. So, no, I'm joking. Thank you, everyone, for submitting your questions. There were a lot more that we didn't get to today, and we got extremely passionate about the 3 that we chose for this week, but we want to continue this model. So after every series, and each series is 4 episodes, we will come back to the mailbag. And again, if you have a question on a previous series, please submit those. You can do that via YouTube in the comment section or also Spotify. I know that's a new feature for Spotify, so you may not realize that, but you can go in there and comment on each episode also. So make sure you're doing that. But I have some action steps for you. So if you feel like you are an educator that's making a difference, if you feel like you're an educator that's making an impact, either on your campus or in your district, and you are a part of the VIBE Edu community, I want you to do 3 things. 1, I want you to push subscribe on any platform that you're currently consuming. So if you're on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, it doesn't matter. Push subscribe. Second thing, I want you to rate and review the podcast on that same platform. And then the third thing I want you to do is I want you to share it out. I want you to share it out to a colleague that needs this information. And not as a, you know what, you're a horrible educator and you need this information to be better. Not that. It's someone that is going to be a part of this same community, that is passionate, that has this drive, that wants to make an impact on the whole system. Make sure you're sharing out. So please do those things if you consider yourself a part of this community. And with that, if you need anything from the four of us, our websites are in the show notes. Please make sure you're clicking on that and contacting us via that way or on social media. We hope that you have a fantastic week, and we're super excited for the new series, but we don't know what it is yet. So it'll be a surprise to everyone involved. And with that, Mitch, you're 100%.